Do you like board games? No? Well, then you're going to hate this channel. Welcome to Table Talk. I'm Andrew, and I hope you do like board games. And if you do, this is the channel for you. We'll be talking about board games, ranking them, and hopefully helping you find some new great board games to check out. Today, we're going to be talking about the classics, the family favorite board games we all grew up playing in my top 10 better versions of classic board games. Let's get into it. Number 10, we have maybe the most popular board game of all time. I'm talking about Monopoly. I mean, what's not to love? New Jersey, rich billionaires preying on other people through real estate. A game that was originally invented by a woman and stolen by a man. No, just kidding. But there are things to like about Monopoly. I mean, you have the trading and the stealing, and you're constantly getting stuff and rolling dice and earning from your houses and your cities. But there's a game that does that way better in way shorter of a time. Because if you remember, Monopoly can take like 4 hours, and if you were me, you could get eliminated 20 minutes in. With that being said, there is a game that's way quicker, that still has the stealing, that still has the trading, that still has the rolling dice and getting stuff from cities and houses, and that is Catan. Instead of Jersey, it is a brand new island you have discovered, and it takes way less time. You can't get eliminated, and there's still the fun of stealing, trading, constantly earning stuff from your cities and houses. That is the better version of Monopoly, Catan. Do you like solving murders? Well, based on the number of NCIS spin-offs in America, you probably do. If that's true, then you probably loved Clue growing up, running around this crazy mansion trying to solve the mystery of who killed who with what and where. And it's a great game, but a lot of it can be lucky, and ultimately the mystery solving comes down to checking off a bunch of numbers on the list till inevitably it was Colonel Mustard. Well, that all changes with my number 9, Mysterium, where instead of solving the murder of Mr. Body, you are solving the murder of one of your own. That person becomes a ghost and is throwing out visions left and right to all the other detectives to figure out who did it, where, with what. It's awesome because you get to collaborate and tell your friends they're wrong and help them be right, and you can even gamble on if your friends are right and wrong. That is the better version of Clue, Mysterium. My number 8 is based on the classic party game called Taboo. It preys on one of everyone's favorite things to do, judging your friends and calling them out when they're in the wrong, and you get to do it with an extremely annoying buzzer. Now, they took away the buzzer for the better game, and that is banned words. But what makes it better than Taboo is instead of getting a card that tells you all the words the other team can't say, you get to write them yourself. So you get to be creative enough to figure out the words that a team can't say, and you get to call them out when they mess up, and it's all due to your creativity. That is the better version of Taboo, banned words. My number 7 is the better version of Trivial Pursuit. If you're an American and you've been in the basement in the last 30 years, you've probably found a copy of Trivial Pursuit. Whether it be Star Wars or a really outdated one from the 80s, someone has probably pulled out that game to play with you. The problem with that game is trivia ultimately comes down to, do you know it or not? Well, this new trivia game called Wits and Wagers takes that idea of being right or wrong and throws it out the freaking window, because all you're trying to do is be close enough. That's right, all the questions are going to be so obscure your nerdier friends won't know the exact answers. And if you think they're going to get closer than you, you can actually just gamble on them and win points off of their hard-earned guesses. So maybe you're not the best trivia guesser, but maybe you work well as a team, or you're an amazing gambler. And if that's so, Wits and Wagers is the better version of Trivial Pursuit for you. My number 6 is based on the most classic, what's called abstract strategy game ever, which is weird because it's just a bunch of black and white pieces, and that is chess. Now, chess is cool, it's fun, it's super strategic. The problem is if you play with anyone that has played chess more than you, you're going to lose. That is all changed in Onitama. In this, you are defending a Asian sensei with your ninja warriors, and how you do that is moving your pieces just like chess. The thing is, your pieces move differently every single time. So unlike chess, where your opponent will have memorized all the moves, Onitama will be different every single time. It's a game that is always different, always fun, and a way more interesting theme than boring black and white pieces. That is the better version of chess called Onitama. If you were like me growing up, you probably got really angry at a racing game we all played called Trouble. That's right, in Trouble, you're trying to roll those 1s and 6s. You're hitting the Pop-O-Matic like it's no one's business. And though this new game does not have a magical bubble that pops the dice up every time, it has a gigantic plastic pyramid along with crazy camels hopping on each other instead of boring colored pieces. That is Camel Up. This game is a racing game just like Trouble. Instead, you're rolling dice out of a pyramid. Camels are hopping on top of each other, not to eliminate them, but actually to carry them further. And in this game, you can bet on any camels, not just specific colors. There's crazy camels going backwards. You're taking long shots and betting on the favorites and constantly seeing what happens in the chaos of throwing down almost like Super Mario power-up, speeding up camels, slowing them down. And it all comes down to an awesome racing gambling experience that is way better than Trouble. That is the better version of it, Camel Up. My next pick is based on an American classic that is Battleship. Now, Battleship is awesome. You're trying to guess where your opponent's ships are. You know what's better than that? You and 4 friends getting into your own submarine. You're not the Beatles, but you are running around in a game called Captain Sonar. And in Captain Sonar, you are this crew on the submarine. All of you have different tasks. It is in real time. There is no turns. You're constantly shouting commands, trying to load weapons, trying to take care of damage, trying to move your submarine around, locate the other sub, and fire an attack. It is a way more fun, team-based experience than Battleship, and that is my next pick. The better version of Battleship, Captain Sonar. My next pick on the list is the better version of a classic war game called Risk. Now, if you played Risk growing up, you probably thought it was awesome. I did. You used to run around trying to conquer the entire world. Only problem is it took 4 freaking ever, and your uncle would do the same strategy every time of going to Australia, inevitably make an alliance with you, betray you, and just like Monopoly, you would get eliminated a quarter of the way in. What fixes that is a game called Small World. Instead of trying to conquer the entire world in this game, you're just trying to get enough of a small world. So there's only a certain number of rounds. It won't go on extremely long like Risk, and you can't get eliminated. That's right. If your army is doing so poorly, if your alliances have not worked out, you can just retire them and come back next turn with an entirely new army. And all of these armies are different. They have different races and power-ups, and it is an awesome experience. And that is the war game that blows Risk out of the water, Small World. If you made it far in this video, I'm about to announce my #1 better version of a classic game. But before I do that, I'd like to thank the sponsor of today's video, and that is Big Brothers and Big Sisters. No, it's actually not the sponsor of today's video. This is my first video. But it is a super cool organization you should check out. It gives kids and youth that need it proper mentoring and positive male and female role models to look up to and to strive towards. They spend quality time mentoring these young kids. It's an awesome group, and you should click on the link on the description, not to buy a product, but maybe to support an awesome cause. Thank you guys so much. Also, if you are still watching this video, I'd love for you to comment your own takes. I'm calling this Table Talk because I want you to talk in the comments about your opinions, and I want to take your guys' takes about better versions of classics, spin it into a People's Choice Top 10 for the next video, so it's not just me talking, but you as well. And now my #1 better version of a classic game That is the better version of the game of life. Ever since I was a kid, I love the game of life, constantly making fun of your opponent's poor choices in a marriage partner and a job and a career and their constant debt and injuries, and then in turn making fun of your own. It's an awesome game where you get to live out an imaginary life and see what happens along the way. The negative thing is it's all determined on this really cool spinner that would always fly off the tracks, but it ultimately came down just to luck. Well, Pursuit of Happiness takes that game and makes it a game where you make the decisions yourself. That's right, instead of a spinner deciding what job you get, you can decide whether you want to be a homeless motorcyclist or you want to be a family man with a pool and a mansion and a high career job in the business world. You can do all of those things. You can have a crazy youth and then turn it around. You can get a bunch of money and then spend it all in retirement. Whatever choice you make, you can do it in the pursuit of happiness, going for it all in an imaginary life, just like in real life where we're going for long-term happiness, which is harder to get than short-term in this game and in real life. That is the better version of the game of life, Pursuit of Happiness. Well, thanks so much for watching. This is my very first video ever, and hopefully you would subscribe and check out my future videos as we continue to talk about board games, what makes them so great, and which ones you should be bringing to the table. I'll see ya.